Alrighty, guys, so just like that, another day's in the books for the stock market and for Palantir, which is what we're going to break down in this video. And let me tell you guys right off the bat here, we did not have the best day across the board today for the stock market. It wasn't a bloodbath or a disaster, but we did have a red day on all the indexes here, and Palantir also went down about 0.6% on the day, down 12 cents, and we did get a lot of selling in the morning. So we have to do an update here in this video. We'll break down the charts, my thoughts, key levels, what I'm looking to do. So if y'all find value, smash that like button, make sure to subscribe. And of course, don't forget to follow me on X as well at Stocks Talk Stocks, link down below. And with that being said, cheers. And yes, I'm drinking a Monster today, guys. I barely ever drink these anymore, but I use it as a treat sometimes. I get a Monster, which I drank way too many of these back in the day, especially in college. I was drinking, man, maybe one, sometimes two per day, which I'm sad to admit it, but I'll admit it. It was a problem back then. Let's leave it at that, guys. Too many freaking Monsters back in the day. So let's break down what ended up happening with Palantir stock today. Then maybe later in the video, if we have time, we'll break down how the indexes did in the end of the day, or really across the entire day today. So Palantir, again, down 12 cents on the day at the close, down 0.6%, and it's barely holding above $19 as of now. It actually closed at $19.08. And you guys can see, if I zoom in a bit here, in the morning, we got a lot of selling. We got down to about, what, $18.62 to be exact, and we opened at about $19.15 to give you guys some context there. So we went from $19.15 down to $19.60. That was a drop of around 3%. Then we had a sharp V-shaped recovery. We took out the opening price at about $19.15. We hit roughly $19.40. Then we coasted there a bit. Actually got up to $19.50. Then we sold off heading into close, as you guys can see. And if I pull up this 1 day, 1 minute again, you can see we did the same thing pretty much on Friday. If I pull this up and show you guys, on Friday, we saw selling followed by a V-shaped recovery. Then we kind of flatlined a bit for a couple of hours. So very similar price action there. But today, like we did on Friday, I believe, we took out the lows from the previous trading day. Again, we hit 1862. On Friday, we hit roughly 1895 at the lowest point. So we took the lows out, which is not a good sign in the very short term here for the bulls. But if you've been watching my channel, guys, you should not be surprised, because we've talked about how I personally believe there could be some more selling in the short term on Palantir stock, especially as we're heading into the end of the year here. Then we'll see what happens from there. But in the meantime, looks like, that's playing out the way I've been thinking. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm thinking maybe we have a little more downside to go. I'm not saying it's going to go all the way down to 10 or 12. I mean, it could. Never say never. But I'm thinking more like $17-ish is a healthy spot. $17.50 on the larger time frames as well. So we took out the lows from Friday. Now on the 5-day, 5-minute, we're trading at a fresh low as well. So you guys can see now we've seen 1, 2, 3, 4 days of selling pretty much in a row. And if I pull up this 20-day chart, now we're getting a death cross on this time frame. We have the 50 SMA crossing under the 180 SMA, and now we're approaching this spot right here, which you guys can see was support back in the early days of this month. We held it pretty strong there. Then we rallied off of it, going all the way up to 2185. So that'd be the next spot where I'd think maybe we get a little relief rally or consolidation. Maybe we get some buyers there. We'll see. And now that I'm looking at this, guys, we do have a bit of a head and shoulders forming. We have the left shoulder, the head, and here we have the right shoulder with a death cross, like I said before. So that's not the best sign, the head and shoulders here. But who knows? Maybe, again, we get consolidation at about $18, $18.25, and we'll see where it goes from that point. So Palantir, that's a quick rundown on the smaller time frames. And, of course, on the 4-hour chart, you can see that head and shoulders I drew out, and you can also see how the 180 SMA, let me clear the drawing set and zoom in a bit here, 180 SMA is right at about $17.80, $18, which again is where I think we might get a bit of support in the short term. But in the meantime, again, we might be seeing a bit more red towards that moving average. Even maybe we might even dip under it. I mean, that's a possibility. You guys can see when we sold off a good chunk in the middle of October, heading into the early days of November, heading into the earnings report, we sold off, let's see how much during this little couple week stretch here. We sold off from 1850 down to about 1450. We sold off 21%. We dipped under the moving averages momentarily for a couple of days. Then we rallied above them again. So that's a possibility. We could do something like maybe 1750. If that doesn't hold, 1780, 1750, maybe we start going down 17, maybe 1650. We dip under the moving averages a bit. Then we start running up again. And you guys probably remember this channel right here. No need to harp on it, but I'll draw it out. I've covered this before in the past couple of videos. Let me draw this out. This is also a possibility or another way to look at it for more downside here on Palantir. But either way, not that bad of a day. We went down 12 cents. All right, not the biggest deal, as again, the indexes ended up going down across the board. Let's cover those very quickly. Then we'll wrap up the video, guys. I appreciate you all for tuning in, as always. So let's pull this up. S&P 500, if I pull up SPY here, went down about 82 cents. Again, not an eventful day. I mean, it's not like we had a bloodbath or it was moving all over the place, but it's clear that we are getting resistance at about 455, 460, which you all know at this point was the high from back in August, end of July. And the million-dollar question is, do we push through this heading into the rest of the year, which we have about a month left of trading, or do we fail and then fill the gap down a bit, which honestly would be reasonable as well. That'd be a reasonable take here on the charts. If you look at the charts, we ran up a ton in the past couple of weeks, up about 11% in the past month, and we're pretty stretched, let's be honest right now. We could argue that we might end up selling off here at 455, filling the gap down to 440, which was the high from mid-October. That's what a lot of people are thinking right now. We're getting ready for a December sell-off. It's possible, for sure, and I get where they're coming from, considering how much we're up. Earnings are out. The cat's out of the bag, right? We might get a sell the news event on the entire stock market. If that's even a thing, I think it is a thing, right? Either way, it doesn't matter. I probably should know that, right? But it doesn't matter, guys. You know what I mean. Now that we got all the news out, earnings, this, that, the third, markets are like, what the heck's next? And of course, something probably will come along, as it always does. But, in the meantime, we might get a bit of a sell-off. There's a lot of arguments here. There's a lot of different sides that you can look at this from. But overall, that's what's going on right now. We had a red day slightly. Triple Q, if I pull it up, which of course is the NASDAQ 100. This is also pretty stretched, arguably. But the bulls keep on trucking along, man. We're above the moving averages. We're above the 50 SMA. We're at a fresh high here on the 4-hour chart. But it would be healthy, in my opinion, if we did see a bit of a sell-off, maybe down to about 370, 375. Maybe we start coming down right here. Then we start seeing some consolidation there. In my opinion, that'd be a pretty healthy spot. But until then, we're going to be watching it, of course, keeping our eyes on it, and we're going to be covering it here on the channel, guys. Not only Palantir, but other stocks, the stock market in general, news, the economy. So if you like that type of stuff, make sure to subscribe, hit the like button on this video, and of course, guys, don't forget to get up to 15 stocks from Moomoo, each up to $2,000. Just use that link down below, or go to stocksurfest.com/Moomoo. Once you open up your account and fund it with your initial $100 deposit, you get 5 stocks, each up to $2,000, and fund your account at least $1,000. On top of those 5 stocks, you get 10 more stocks, each of those up to $2,000 as well. So that's 15 stocks from Moomoo using that link down below. So use that link. And with that being said, guys, cheers. And by the way, that link does help out the channel. I appreciate you all as always. And with that being said, cheers. I'll catch you guys in the next video.